everyone. Welcome back to the Girl of Gen Z podcast. So today I have a special guest on. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Sarah. Me and Clarissa met at Starbucks. Oh my God.
Yeah, so this episode is going to be, it's basically going to be a Starbucks conversation. It's going to be what it was like working there, the little things that you guys wouldn't know as the customers, and just like our experiences and how we feel.
You know what's so crazy? The other day I was actually thinking about it. I was like, oh my God. I was like, a lot of people don't know what goes on behind the scenes.
No, they really don't. Like when I
you
got
guys
hired,
just see the drinks and the hectic lineups and like the barista at the bar like looking frantic if there's like not enough people.
Yeah.
Unless there's certainly the ones that will literally hand off your drink and it looks like amazing and they're like finishing it off. Do you remember Prim?
Yeah.
Yeah, like how she was doing that. That was crazy.
Some people are just, oh man. Okay, we'll get to it. Let's start. Yeah. Okay, I've already said, but I think that I'm the host, obviously. But she already said my name, so
yes, I'm the guest.
Already got past that part. Okay, let's start with your like upbringing. So, who are you? Where did you kind of grow up? Your background?
Oh my God. Okay, so how do I describe
where should I start?
Yeah, I'm like, where should I start? That's a really good question. Maybe should have thought of that. Okay, so I grew up mostly in Toronto. I'm 22. I left when I was 17, but the thing is though is that I still go to school in Toronto and all my like childhood friends are still there and I'm still keeping contact. Honestly, I just live in Mississauga right now. I love it. It's great. Even though I'm mainly a hectic city girl, the thing is though Mississauga is so calm and quiet. But other than that, I just work here. And
so how old were you when you moved from Toronto to Mississauga?
I was 17. The thing is though is like I was still going to high school in Toronto and my high school was so far, but I still bussed it all the time.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know.
What was the commute like?
45 minutes.
Each way?
Yeah. Oh, I know.
I couldn't imagine.
It was literally, if you're familiar with the GTA, it was, honestly, I always laugh and then say this. I'm not, oh my gosh, this is horrible. I can't believe I'm about to say this. I went to the high school that burnt down. No, I am not laughing at the fact that it burnt down. I loved my high school. I was like really, like I loved it a lot. I'm just, it's awkward when I say, I'm like, they're like, what high school did you go to? I'm like, you know the one that burnt down?
I don't. Yeah. I don't know.
No, it was literally on the news. It was literally on the news. That's what like everybody's like, oh, that's the high school. Because if I say like, sorry guys, I'm gonna nickname it now. I'm like, oh, it's York Memorial or it's Memo. They don't know what that is. I'm like, oh, it was on the news. It burnt down.
That's terrible.
Yeah, that's terrible.
So wait, when did it burn down?
Literally like 3-4 months ago.
That's like super recent.
Yeah.
It was my God. Are they rebuilding?
No, they're like literally shoving all the kids into a new school.
Or are they like dispersing them?
Yeah, like some are going to mainly apparently another school nearby, Scarlet Heights, and then there's like other schools. Yeah,
holy.
Like, yeah.
So
I had great memories there.
You commuted from Mississauga to Toronto.
Yes.
Every single day.
Every single day, and I would commute back. And honestly,
was it public school?
Crazy. Yeah, it was a public school. Oh my God, I had such a crazy like high school life. Like everything I did was in.
Well, let's talk about it a bit.
Oh, okay, sure. Like,
did you feel like you had the typical high school experience?
No. Well, honestly, here's the thing. Okay, so I was a cheerleader for the last 4 years. Like, I was the captain of the team.
Woo!
Yeah, I know.
So,
but it's so crazy though because I honestly like when I moved, that was the biggest change because like the commute. You have to be up so early. I had to leave my house in Mississauga at like 5 a.m. in the winter, which is already so dark outside, so it's like creepy. In an area that I was not used to, just to get to my like 6 a.m. practices. Yeah.
So did you have to run them being the captain?
Yeah, you have to run them. And then so
did you have an assistant to help you?
No, there was 2 or 3. There was 3 other girls. I love you guys if you're watching this, which you guys better. Yeah, they were also a part of it, but I was the one that lived the furthest. So, and I may have not told the truth about where I live, so I was able to continue going there. It's too late now. I got my diploma. Yeah, I know. So, yeah, I would go there, and then like right after, like I'd be so exhausted because I had been working the night before, which my job was also in Toronto.
Oh my god.
So I didn't get the chance to transfer yet because I was still new by the time my parents moved. So I was like, I think I could still do it. Like, no, I'd be like finishing at 9, coming home at like 11 because of how far it was in Toronto.
That's
and
crazy.
Then,
as a high school kid too.
And then I'd be up studying because I was like, I'm still am, but like such a big nerd. Like I had to make sure I was prepared for everything. And so like I'd be like going to sleep with my textbook open at like 1 a.m. My dad will literally open the door and he'd be like, what's going on here? I'm like, stop, I have to get sleep. I have to be up in like 4 hours. And then yeah, that's literally what it was. Like it was like that every single day.
And your parents supported this lifestyle?
Yeah, in the sense that they were like, my parents were also just like, they knew that they trusted me, so they didn't know. I would explain to them here and there. They were still adjusting their own lives, and like my 4 other sisters into that like new Masaga life, like all that. But like I was just always very stubborn, and seriously, no, it's true. I was always really stubborn and like kind of just kept my business to myself, in the sense that like my parents knew I was going to school and they knew I was getting all my stuff done.
So as long as you got good grades, you came home, like everything was kind of checked off
like,
that list, and it was like, do whatever.
Yeah, and
just
the job, kid. Like my father always said, like, you don't need a job, like you can literally leave it. But it's like, because I was so stubborn, I was like, no, I want my own money. I don't want to ask you guys.
Yeah, no, I totally get that.
Yeah, like I was like, actually, yeah. So I was like, I just took it. And like I ran with it, and honestly made myself really tired.
That happens when you're up so early at night and then doing homework all night.
Exactly, but it worked out so well because grade 11 was so hard. I literally took 4 grade 12 classes in grade 11. Because there's this thing that we have, it's your top 6. It helps you get into university. So I was trying to get the 4 out of the 6 out of the way. In grade 12, I actually only needed 2 or 3 credits. And that's it.
So did you fast track?
Yeah, because I fast tracked.
So were you done a semester early or a whole year early?
So here's the thing: my school didn't have a semester. It was a year long. It's a year long school. The thing is, those like, so you're only allowed to have 2 spares. That's what we called it.
It was same with our school.
Exactly. And then whereas like you don't really have a class, you just have a break.
Yeah.
And then
you'd be a part-time student if you.
Exactly, and they don't do that. And honestly,
they're not supposed to do that.
That's a whole other story. I had a guidance counselor talk to me about that. He goes, "So why'd you fast track?" I was like,
I can't believe you're giving me crap for wanting to finish and be a good student. Child.
Exactly, and I got such good marks, so I was like, I should be getting a congrats. Like, you know,
here's your achievement piece of paper.
You know what? Honestly, guys, I can't believe I'm about to expose this, but it's literally, he told me, he goes, "Oh my god, like we're gonna get cut like funds for you." Okay, yeah.
Let me just plug in the charger.
Okay. Yeah. Oh my god. So, yeah, he actually said that to me, and then what else? Yeah. So even though I was only allowed 2 spares, I didn't need the other credits, so they would have me take classes that I didn't need to go to.
That's annoying.
So no, I had those classes, and I was just like sleep in. I was like, okay, I don't need to go to that class.
It wouldn't affect your. It wouldn't, as long as it was in your top 6.
Yeah, exactly. So I would literally like sleep.
So they just had to enroll you.
Promoting this, but in another term in our like slang, would skip.
Yeah,
you'd literally be skipping. Yeah. Guys, not promoting that.
Honestly, though, my mom was totally, and dad. Yeah. And I'm so okay to say this, we're okay with us skipping if it was like, hey, I did all my work and we have a supply teacher, so can I leave? And they're like, well, yeah, that's useless. Like, why would you sit there for an hour and whatever being babysat?
Yeah, like, literally.
Thank you. But then we'd go to our attendance lady and she'd give us crap for it. And it's like,
exactly.
Do you want me to go do my homework somewhere else for other classes, or do you want me to sit in this class that I'm literally not learning anything in?
Exactly.
She didn't get it.
Oh my god. No, you know, also I will never forget this. In grade 11, I was taking grade 12 English. Oh my god, my teacher hated me, even though I literally got like a 94 in the class. Literally, she did not like it because that's the time where I'd be having cheer in the morning. And so there would be like a little time frame in between like the classes before it started. And she was my first period class.
Oh, no.
When I would go into her class, sometimes I put my head down and sleep. not promoting that as well.
But I mean, you had no sleep.
I was like, I had all the work done. Everything's done. I already read ahead of the syllabus. Like, what's the problem? Which is not nice still. It's disrespectful. I get it. But like, I would put my head down. Oh my God. There was this girl that was sit beside me. And she like tapped me. Okay, like if you guys really see somebody putting their head down, first of all, they have dark circles in their eyes. I'm pretty sure it's like left permanent marks. And she would literally tap me. She'd be like, hey. I remember one time I just got up and I'm like, yes. And she goes, are you sleeping? I was so mad. I just looked at her, I'm like,
what does it look like?
Yeah, like, what do you think I'm doing? Like, sniffing the desk? Like, what's wrong with you? Yeah, but yeah, no, I was trying my hardest to not let my teacher see that I'd put my head down, even though I was sitting in the front, so I don't know how I was getting away with that. But I think like, she called me out on it twice. But I was really like, she'd hand me back my assignment. I'm like, and then this like smart engineering kid, like, cause he was gonna get into like engineering. He literally turned around. He goes, "Hey, what'd you get?" And like, he saw my mark. He goes, "How'd you get higher than me?" I'm like,
that was rude.
Yeah,
first of all,
I was like, okay, like, whatever.
That's so funny.
Yeah, literally just like, okay, can I go back sleeping? Like,
everyone's bothering me.
Yeah, literally. But yeah, that's a little bit about my high school experience.
So how did you transition out going into university?
You know what's so crazy? This actually plays into how I got into Starbucks. This actually plays into it very well. So like I said, was very stubborn in my own way. And so I was very adamant about leaving to go away for school. I honestly thought I was like, I'm so independent because my parents just always encouraged that in me. But it was kind of like false independence. Definitely false. If you're still living with your parents, you know, there's still some dependence.
Yeah, 100%.
But exactly. So I didn't realize how much I actually relied on my family. Honestly, I wasn't that grateful until this experience. I went off to Queens in Kingston, which honestly,
was that your first choice school?
Yeah, it was my first choice. A second was Western.
Present.
Yeah, but I went away, and honestly, it taught me so much. Like, it was a
huge
big
change,
difference. Yeah, I think I had 2 people from my high school that I knew that went there, but it's to go from such a hectic city life and the communities, like, you guys just know each other and stuff, to just go into a small, like, quiet town, like, with a bunch of, like, just random different personalities. Yeah. Everybody's trying to struggle and figure it out, and like, you're really struggling to figure it out because you're just like, whoa, like, this, you got thrown off board. Like,
it's like a culture shock because it's like you're not used to the town, you're not used to the types of people.
It was such a big culture shock. So I was really like miserable. I was so miserable, but I was thankful for that misery because it taught me that I was like, okay, honestly, I'm just gonna transition over to Ryerson. I went to a university downtown to actually Toronto because I knew after like my first semester, I was like, no, I'm way too miserable. I told my mom.
How was that?
It was tough making that decision, but honestly, like I said, that independence, at least that thing that I had, I don't know what the word is for it, but I guess it was just very headstrong. At least I was like very determined to know that like everything happens for a reason. I really do believe that. So I was like, okay, honestly, I came here. I learned a lot of what I should have been grateful for. And I learned more about myself in that quiet time. And I was like, and everybody needs that. So it was like, at 18, I learned that I'm definitely a city girl. This is not for me.
Did you think you're more of a homebody too? Like, were you on res at Ryerson?
Yeah, I was on res.
Okay.
No, at Queens. I was on res. And then, yeah, I just called my mom. I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore. And she goes, I'm like, I don't want to be here. And she's like, that's fine. Like, come home. Like, she's my
so she opened you back with open arms.
Yeah, of course. They're literally like, we let you go because you wanted to go, but like, of course we want to see you like every day. Like, that's your kid. Like, I get that. And my dad, honestly, he was very like headstrong too, and like at my age, so he understood why I wanted to just like go away and like. And then
it's a typical thought that crosses a lot of kids' minds.
And at least I was always thinking about it, like, before I chose to go to Queens, I'm like, if I don't go, I will always live with that what if.
100%. That was the exact same experience for me in that sense. What if? Yeah. What if?
I'm like, and if I do
always in the back of your head.
Don't like it, I'm like, I can always come back. I'm like, my parents didn't give away my room to anybody. Like, they didn't change it into anything. You lose some money
from tuition and housing, and that hurts you.
Definitely.
It does, especially at that time. It's hard.
Yeah.
Seeing your bank account. But
Honestly,
over
it was
time,
worth it, though. I did
yeah,
not care.
exactly. Over time, it's in the past. You know what I mean? Like it's not something. For me, at least, it's not something I think about every day. Like, oh, those thousands of dollars. Like,
it actually
one semester.
It was great that all that happened. I'm actually really thankful for it. Despite being miserable, like going through that, like you learn to deal with your demons, like all that stuff. Like being in a quiet place, like you actually learn to like deal with all the things that you bother you. Like I get a little anxious sometimes, and I learned to deal with why I was getting anxious with certain things, and I was like, well, I have no choice. I'm going to talk to myself, so let me figure it out.
Did you have a roommate?
Yeah, I had 2 roommates. They were both from China. They were really cool. They actually taught me some words in Mandarin. I don't remember them. And they literally were taught me, but because of them, I want to learn Mandarin.
It like motivated you.
Yeah, exactly. And then they also taught me how to properly use chopsticks. Yeah, seriously, they were really cool.
We all wish we knew.
Exactly, but they were so busy with their own stuff, and they actually went out to party a lot, and I didn't. And honestly, you know what I would love to do? I would love staying in my room and watching The Office. Yeah,
you're not the first person I've heard say that.
Literally, I loved it. That's like,
it's like you're so busy that like the only time you had to yourself to watch The Office, you just wanted to.
Exactly, exactly. So, I don't know. All that, like they did their own thing. Like, yeah, we went out a couple times, but like still that wasn't enough for me. I knew there was like still that thing, and I was like, this is not right. And you have to just trust your gut. And so I knew that if I was gonna come back, I obviously started a semester like already, so I was like, there's no way I'd have to reapply to Ryerson and all that.
So wait, what was the time you went home?
So I went home in I want to say January 2nd.
So you finished first semester?
Or no, I think at the end of December. Oh no, it was like December something. Yeah, I finished the first semester.
Did your exams?
Yes, I did my exams, all that. I think it was like in the middle of December. I can't really remember, but it was definitely in the wintertime. I honestly just booked my train ticket. My parents. Oh no, I did not book my train ticket. But that's how many times I had booked a train ticket to keep going home because I was so tired.
Yeah.
And just wanted to see my family. But my parents drove up, grabbed everything for me, and we left. I just left. I honestly did not look back. And I was so happy that I came back into like where I was actually
meant to be.
Exactly. Yeah. And I was like, this is where my soul feels at peace right now. This is where it needs to be. And then I always knew whatever decision I make the right decision. Like everything just is gonna play out.
Like you said, everything happens for a reason.
Exactly.
So if you felt, it wasn't even in that moment, for a while you were feeling this like gut feeling.
Yeah.
That like brought you back home.
Yeah. So I have a younger sister. She's 11 months younger than me. She was working at Starbucks.
Oh, before you.
Yes, before me. Okay, so she's actually the one that helped me get into the job.
Was she at the one that I met you at? Or no?
No.
You were at one before that? Or she was at one before that?
You know, yeah, she was at Square One.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, how that played out. Before I left Queens, I was like, I'm like, oh my God, what am I gonna do for the next semester? Like you know, when you're still a high school student and you had just like you're like you no longer have school right at that second, so you're like, what do I do with my time? Like,
and you didn't have a job when you were at Queens, right?
No, well, I did, but like it was like this, you know, like those food samplers at like Costco. I would do that on the weekend, so it was like, yeah,
at Costco.
No, not at Costco. It was at Loblaws.
Oh, okay.
But it was pretty cool. But like honestly, I left that. I was like, honestly, this was cool, but like, thank you very much, but this is not happening for me. Like taking the bus and all that stuff in Kingston was just weird. But yeah, so I was like on FaceTime with her, I guess. I think it was on FaceTime. And she was telling me, she goes, oh, like I was thinking of like, what do I do if I come back? And she's like, why don't you just work at Starbucks? I was like, oh, there's no way like I would get a job at Starbucks. Like, you know, like you just think of it so high up that you were never like that. You think that they're so like,
I thought the same thing. I was like, there's no way they'd ever hire me. I thought the same thing.
Incorrect, guys. Literally don't think of it like that. They're like
go in
with
an open mind. Honestly, you'll be surprised.
Starbucks is really inclusive and diverse.
Especially when I got in, I remember looking at their like inclusivity like uniform. They're like, and we allow this hair color now and piercing.
I was there before that.
Like, yeah, I know. That's what I mean. Like compared to what you said, like with inclusivity and like how open they are to people.
Always just. They know how to cater to a younger crowd and a younger generation, which are obviously more open hopefully, guys, seriously, open to a more diverse, like, you know, world, like accepting of it.
Yeah.
Like everybody's gonna be diverse anyways. You just have to learn to be accepting, and that's something that people need to fix with themselves.
Yes.
So yeah. So
she said,
she
go work at Starbucks.
Yeah, she said, just apply to Starbucks. Just, you're coming back anyways. Just come. And they're having an open house or something. Like, they do this thing where it would be a bunch of managers and they'd rent out the space in a part of the mall. Yeah. So that's what they were doing. And you would just go in and just, like, you know,
apply?
Interview with a bunch of
on
managers.
the spot.
Yeah.
So it's like McDonald's does that. Like once a year they have like National Hiring Day. So that was kind of their way of doing
people, it. Though. Do they?
Yeah. I don't know. We've never tried. Clearly, we've never worked there.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, did you go in on that day that they had the thing in the mall?
I went in and I got interviewed by a couple of people, and this one manager really liked me. He ended up being our manager. He was really cool. And if he's watching this, I hope you know I said that you're cool.
It's really important.
Yeah. I know he wants to hear it. And yeah, you do. Okay, so yeah.
So he hired you on the spot?
No, he didn't hire me on the spot. We did the interview, and he was just doing his thing. He was naturally, like, very charming, like, as a talker. Like, so I was, yeah, you remember that. Yeah, you remember. He was known for that at our store.
People would come in for that.
Yeah,
like,
literally come in asking for him. Like, yeah. So he just always likes to put on a grand show.
Yeah.
But yeah. So basically, I interviewed with him. I just let him talk. And he was really cool. And, like, he just asked me a couple questions. We answered it. Honestly, I just felt so at ease. I was like, okay, like, you know, this is
comfortable.
Great. Yeah.
Like, you're like,
yeah, that was like,
no problem.
You know, I'm doing the right thing. And then, I guess that I also applied online as well. And, like, I had gotten a call back. This is how I actually got the job. So basically, I didn't know this, but because of how comfortable I was in the interview, I was like, okay, so this went really well. Like, I understood that. But then I didn't get a call back from him. I don't know how long it was, but I didn't get a call back from him. So I was getting a little nervous. I was like, okay, cool, whatever. Or any of the other managers. But then there was another manager I think he said, I saw your resume online or something. I just wanted to let you know if you can come in for an interview. Like, I want to see you. And so I went in. He was opening a new store. And he had just gotten promoted to manager, so he was, like, new to it
as well.
Yeah, exactly. And there was, like, 2 other people working there, so I was like, okay, this is really cute. Like, Starbucks is just naturally really cute. Like, they've perfected that. Like, just
it's a very nice,
very cute, like,
exactly,
and
process.
Welcoming. Yeah, exactly. So, and everybody's just really kind. It's actually true. Like, when you actually get lucky enough to get an interview with a manager, they're just really kind. Like,
I still to this day call it my fun job.
Yeah, it was a fun job.
It was like a breath of fresh air going in, like
Seriously.
being with the people that was like our team, like the selected people that our manager like picked out. You know?
He was definitely hand selecting it. Like, you know.
So it was like, it was just so weird how well it did work. I was like, I've never been in a workplace like this.
It's because he worked so hard. He worked so hard. Like, I swear to God, guys, he would work 60, 70 hours.
Yeah,
like,
definitely put in the work.
Especially when he was first starting out. Because he had to prove it. Because he was an outside hire, and that's not new for Starbucks.
Well, it did get proven.
Yeah.
We'll get there later.
Exactly. But. So basically, this guy called, and he said, like, oh, I really like you, whatever. Like,
so this is the other manager.
This is another manager, and I actually went into the store. This wasn't the, like, little event they had. And so he really liked me, and he made that very clear. And then I think he had told me that he was going to hire me or something. He goes, you're going to hear back from me. Like, I'm going to call you. Like, at this time, I'm just going to, like, see something. I don't know. Like, I don't really remember. But I was just, like, really too happy about the fact that I'm getting a free Frappuccino. At the
Honestly,
interview, guys, they literally always ask you guys, oh, go order whatever you want. Go get whatever you want.
Like, no limitations.
Yeah, drink-wise
I thought it was wild, though. I was just like, and like, I don't think I want anything. Like, are you sure? And I'm like... Is this normal? Like, do they always ask people this? But yeah, like, you learn over time, it's free.
Yeah, I know. And it's just like, that's just another thing that's like, okay, like, look, we have an abundance of this stuff. Let's show you how open and welcoming we are, right?
Yeah.
So
and it's also part of like the presence, and also like you said, at ease, being comfortable, like having a coffee while having an interview. Like, what? Like,
exactly.
no other place
you don't
does
have
that.
to pay for it. Yeah. Like, we're gonna give it to you. Yeah. So I remember I was like, yes, I'm gonna get a free frappuccino.
What'd you get?
I got a green tea frappuccino.
Oh, okay.
At that time, I wasn't vegan, so I was like getting it with like caramel drizzle like all over the
Ew.
cup. Yeah, no, it actually tastes really good. The
Green
ones who
tea.
love matcha like will know that that tastes good. And yeah, it was like whipped cream and everything. Now I can't do that, but it's okay.
You enjoyed it while it lasted.
Exactly.
Did you get a venti?
I think so. Yeah.
Might as well.
Yeah, might as well. So yeah, so then, or I think he was getting a phone call or something. I don't know, but he ended up calling me back, and he said,
Who? The guy you're still talking about.
This
Okay.
is the second guy, not our actual manager. So he said, he goes, Sarah was gonna hire you, but like I didn't know that you had done an interview with another manager, and he goes, and he wants you. And he called me to tell me that I can't hire you, that he already approved you for his store. And I'm like, I didn't get a call. Like,
You're like,
okay.
this is awkward.
But sure. I was like, but I was excited. I'm like, yay, 2 people are fighting over
I'm
me.
approved.
I know. And then, yeah. And so
when
like,
our manager
and guys,
called
I
you?
only applied as a barista. I only selected that.
tell
and
them
I
though
made
the
that
different positions there are.
Yes, I'll tell you that after I tell you guys what position I ended up getting. So, yeah, I like ended up getting a phone call I think the next morning, and it goes, "Hi, this is that manager's name," and he goes, "Oh, I just wanted to like let you know that I wanted you to come in right like today. Is that possible?" He didn't even tell me I got hired. He literally just told me, "Can you come in?" Like, I was like, okay, sure.
Does that
like,
mean start
at least
then?
the other guy told me that straight up, like, that he was gonna hire me. No. So I come in,
As if it was an interview. Like, what did you dress for?
So no. So this is just I came. Of course, you're gonna come dressed like professional or like whatever
Business
professional.
casual,
Yeah,
or, like-
business casual. That's a perfect way to state it.
Okay, let's call the manager Bob because his name's not Bob.
Yeah, his name's not Bob,
But
and
just-
he knows
just
his
so we
name is
can-
not Bob.
Just
Yeah,
so we
but-
can just like make it easier for the listeners.
Exactly.
So Bob called you in. You went
Bob
in.
called me in. I went in, and honestly, I was so like confused. I literally sat down. He goes, "Okay, so this is like this is how this is gonna work." I wasn't really listening in the beginning part because he handed me like this coffee passport thing, and then Starbucks. When you start off at Starbucks, you get this little tiny notebook. It's
I still
literally
have it.
I know, it's so cute, and it literally tells you about all the coffee origins, like Kenya and all that stuff. At the time, we actually had
All
Kenya
the
coffee
beans,
in or
what
like
the
Canada.
like flavors are.
I'm not
the
sure
ones
if
we go for.
America
Yeah, I
has
can't
it.
remember.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's in the Seattle roastery though.
Yeah, should be.
Yeah. So he like hands it to me, all that stuff, this welcome package. Literally has not even told me I got hired yet. Literally just handing me a bunch of stuff. And then he goes, "So you're gonna be a shift supervisor." In the interview, I explicitly had stated, I was like, he goes, "Oh, what do you want to be?" I was like, "A barista." And here's the thing, my sister worked at Starbucks, so she told me, she's like, don't apply for a shift supervisor, like be a barista.
Because is she a barista?
She was a
Was
barista,
she only
but
ever a
she
barista?
saw like how tough it could be on the shifts. Like, and shortening it, we always called each other just shifts.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, but
You
like
just
I just
accepted
took it. I just accepted it because I was not gonna argue with him. Like I
And
was
you wanted to do that bad. You're like, okay,
yeah,
I might have
I
done
was like,
something
honestly,
right.
I'm like, you know what, like. If that's what you're gonna give me and that's what's gonna cover my time while I'm not at school, then sure. Like,
Yeah.
why not? He explained it to me how some of it's gonna like the breakdown and synopsis of like how it was gonna work. But it was kind of like
What was the breakdown?
it wasn't really much because he was still figuring it out himself. But
Was
you
he
know,
new too?
he's a great talker, so you just kind of let him
Go
say
with
what
it.
he wants,
Yeah.
and like he could just literally think nothing of the situation or know nothing about something, but still make it look like he knows.
100%.
Exactly. Like that's a really good like communicator.
But you wouldn't always be a shift supervisor. Like there were some days you'd be a barista.
No, so he never told me that. And at the time,
So
because he had just become the manager, it was like he was still gathering his team. So like whoever was a supervisor was just doing supervisor duties.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I did not build up from the ground up, which is usually starts as a barista, then you can get
In
promoted.
most positions at jobs,
Exactly.
like you
That's
climb the
internal
ladder.
climbing up. But he didn't do it stuff like that, and that's okay. Like
Yeah, he had his own
he
way of
definitely
doing
promoted
things.
people, but like he enjoyed like just like picking out his own
Yeah, and
team.
giving them the
it worked.
satisfaction
It worked.
and being like,
Yeah, like
well, I built this
he had
person
strong
from
intuition.
the ground.
It was very like clear.
Mhm.
But yeah, so I started out, and then
So was at the very end of that day, did he say like, "Oh, by the way, you're hired," or you just assuming the whole time like,
so you're a supervisor? So I was like, okay, thanks. I will be read between the lines, and that means I got hired. Okay, and I was like, yep, like, and then so basically my training started. He told me about my training. My training started like I think a week later. And it was at a store nearby my house. I actually ended up training with a girl who later on became my best friend at the time. And yeah, it was so crazy. We got hired at the same time. We got hired for the same position.
You trained at a different store?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
I remember you saying that now, but I'm like,
oh,
that's
Starbucks.
So odd to me because like I'm so used to like you get trained at the one you work at, but like you were trained at a completely different one.
No, so here's the thing with Starbucks. They want you to be versatile. They want you to be flexible. They want you to be able to play every position,
especially being shift though.
Yeah,
I feel like the expectation is even higher to like
exactly
be able to cover more ground.
Exactly, and plus people need to take you serious, so you need to be able to like already have that flexibility instilled in you from the get-go. Like that was what the whole company was about. They want everybody to be a team player. Like you're not alone and you cannot do things.
They had
alone.
these little cards. Sorry to jump in,
but
it was I don't even know what they're called. I still have it literally sitting on that bookshelf beside you. Yeah, and you would like. I don't know if was it only the shifts that would give them out, or could anyone? Because
anybody can write that.
I only got them from the person who trained me and my shifts for the most part. But they would like.
No, you should have got more. Like we're encouraged to hand those out as often as possible. We like
keep smiling, or you're doing such a great job.
Kind gestures, like
good job at like paying attention to detail. And then they like. I remember once someone slipped it into my apron, and then they told me to check my apron at the end of my shift.
Probably did that.
I can't remember, but like
he enjoyed coming by and slipping things in
people's aprons. Weird though. I was like, "What do you mean? What did you slip into?"
Check that later. Like I'm like, okay, no guys, you will not touch anybody like that. You just drop it in.
Yeah, because your apron's like you have your kangaroo pockets.
Exactly. But yeah, so
you trained at that other.
I trained at another store. And plus like, Starbucks is select training stores. As far as I'm concerned, like they actually like, because here's the thing, like if there's not a trainer at the store, like you have to be like actually like go through this whole certification to become a trainer. And I think at the time our store didn't have a trainer, like, or
when you got hired,
they didn't have like a designated trainer on like call, like, or working a part of the team. So they were like, because he was literally like a bunch of people had just like quit and stuff. So like when he came in, he was just like building it. Yeah. So he just like goes, okay, so you're gonna go to this store because there's not a trainer at our store yet. And then
and like honestly, thinking back, like as a trainer, you got to be pretty flexible with hours too, because like it's a little bit intense with how much knowledge you're getting in the first little while, like with anything, but this job specifically.
Yeah.
So it makes complete sense that there's only so many that are certified that like you literally have to go to that store and have them show you the rundown.
Exactly. I thankfully had an actual teacher who that was what he went to school for.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So
you got the best of the best.
I literally got the best of the best. I'm telling you, this was how my life was supposed to play out at that time. He literally trained me, and let's call her Layla. He literally trained me and Layla at the same time, like, and everything. He was just great. He knew how to teach, and maybe it's just because he condoned to my like learning skills. Like I learned exactly like the way I was supposed to learn everything because of how good he was. And he just explained everything. He would go through everything with us. Like I've seen other trainers, and honestly he was really like exceptional. Like
when you have something to compare to afterwards, it really makes like, you like think twice.
You're like, I've seen better. Sorry. But yeah, so he was just great, and like there was always like you could make it, or like there was room for error and always encouraging growth in that. Like so
that's
I did
so
a
important.
week or 2 weeks with him, and it was every day 8 to 4. It was like an 8-hour shift. 8 to
5 9. Wow. Can we do math or not?
Okay, let's do this really quickly. 8 to 9, 9 to 10, 10 to 11, 11 to 12, 12 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3. Okay, so 8 to 4.
Yeah.
See, I was right the first time. So yeah, it was like 8 to 4, and you get like a lunch. That's not paid for? Or is it paid for? It's paid for. Starbucks?
No, not paid for. The 15s were
paid for.
So on an 8-hour shift, you'd have 2 15-minute breaks that were paid for, and then a half an hour that was unpaid.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. So, yeah, I did that, and then I went to our store, and then that's when you just meet a bunch of different personalities, and like, you see like how everybody just meshes well together despite like their different upbringings and all that. And at the same time, like, I don't know, our it was just really entertaining working at Starbucks, especially our location. Like, our location was 24 hours, guys.
It was busy.
It was
like
busy. It was right off of the highway, where like,
and there isn't many 24-hour ones.
No,
in our area.
Isn't. And there was like a lot of tourists that came.
Yes.
A lot of tourists.
And we were like third in the district for a while, or like second. We were like top 3 for sure.
Yeah.
Because what Bob would do is he would, and Shifts did this afterwards.
Oh, are you talking about Clover?
Yeah, but I was gonna say that he would write like updates on our Facebook page.
Oh yeah.
Like paragraphs of how well we did that day. Like, these are the people that are working. Like, who else? I remember reading this to my dad and being like, that is like amazing. Who takes the time to write this out every shift and be like, hey, these are little things you have to work on. Our Clover sales were really good, which we'll get into next. But it was just like, he took that extra step and effort, and that's exactly why. And he had that charm, like you said. Exactly. So people would come in and ask for him. People would come specifically to our store just because of our team. Like, we were told to like basically like scream a greeting at you when you'd walk through the door. Like,
not scream like to terrify you, but it would be scream to be like feel joy in your heart, like to really make you feel welcome. It would wake
you up for sure, like, when you're getting your coffee in the morning, it's like, we're bright and happy.
That's so crazy. Like, all these memories are flooding back in.
So the Clover Machine.
Okay. That was Bob's baby. He called it his baby.
He
like,
did.
He definitely called it.
Breathed like
those, like everything Clover.
That was one of the first things that I was made to learn.
Yeah,
and it was
that's the thing. Like, it was only in our store.
So Layla showed me how to do the Clover Machine, like one of my first shifts, and that was literally my job, was just to do clovers for like an hour, and I loved it though. I was like, some people might think it's annoying to like deal with, and we'll explain the process, but like it was a good thing to learn because so many people would order it at that location, so you did need to know how to do it. It wasn't something you could just brush off, be like, someone else do it, So
apparently, before Bob started working there, even though that was like the main attraction for the location, because it was this cool new like reverse French press electronic like
device
coffee
that's
drip,
like thousands of dollars.
Yeah, I'm not really describing it properly because I haven't worked there in so long that like, but I'm trying to recollect my memory on it. Bob, you did a great job instilling that in me. But yeah, basically like you would, any drip coffee, like, you guys know about the Pike, the blonde,
the typical ones,
the dark roast, and then we were lucky enough to have other coffees from different origins that were select. They were like completely different, and you can get anything that was a coffee bean. You can get it crushed and get it on the Clover, like,
and you can get it in tall, grande, or can you do venti?
You could even do short, and you could do it iced.
Yeah,
that was cool too.
Yeah,
you could do it iced. So Bob made it his like mission to instill in every of his employees brains that, like, this gets our hours, this gets our, like, this will, like, not only stuff like that, but like he would just be like, guys, like, just tell us about it, like, you guys should want to know about this because, like, honestly, it's really cool coffee. And he would make us try one like every shift, and like
it was a little bit more money than like the typical just like Pike from a what do we even call that?
Like an extra 20 cents.
But honestly, it was worth it. Because you got to like, it was more like percentage of coffee beans per cup, and then you obviously, like you said, could pick from different origins. So I would never go with just like the typical blonde or Pike, because it's like, with all these other ones, why wouldn't I just try
blonde,
that?
Pike, and dark, whatever dark choice was at the time.
Yeah.
Of the roast of the week. Yeah, you just picking that, you taste the difference.
Yeah. It was
so much smoother. It was like crisp, like everything was just good. Like, whereas the drip is fine, drip, like, but it's just more watered down.
Agreed, because it's
in comparison
pot too that they like.
Don't get me wrong, Starbucks coffee is great though. Like, just even the drip, but yeah. So he literally put it through our head that, guys, like, this should be our mission. Like, we have to tell people about this because apparently the sales were low at the time and a lot of people didn't know about it. I bet,
especially when it's a new item. Like, how are you gonna sell this?
No, it wasn't new. It wasn't new. It had been around for a while. Just no one was promoting it as well as he was.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm getting confused with the Nitro cold brew.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm getting, because I remember that being installed and like that being our next mission on pushing those sales.
So basically, that machine, Like you basically crush the coffee beans through this little mini grinder and like put it in, and the thing goes down. I'm like, and it has a thing that you put the coffee beans on, well, the coffee grounds on, while it was dry. Had like a what was it?
Vacuum seal thing. I don't know how to describe it. My
it
words
had
are
a
not
screen.
good, but
That's what it was. It had a screen that would like basically, and like a hose. You guys have to Google it. This is actually
honestly,
cool.
it's really hard to describe
But
in detail
it's
on
like
a mic.
tap of hot water that
Yeah.
comes down into it, and then the you stir it around for like 10 seconds or 90.
I think it would count you down too.
Yeah.
I'm like trying to remember too.
Was it 90 or was it 10? I don't know.
Less than that. It was 5 or 10. It was not more than that.
Yeah, you just like swirl it around, and then to make sure all the grinds are wet, and then because of the screen filter, it literally like the machine sucks out all the coffee and like just goes.
It's kind of
right
a cool
into your cup.
process. My favorite part is when it would be a nice huge hockey puck on the top,
I know,
and then you'd scrape it into the garbage. It was just like, it was so satisfying, like scraping
Yeah.
that perfect
Honestly,
circle
it looked
off.
like a giant brownie, and a lot of people would come by and say, "Oh, is that cake?" I'm like, "No, it's not
Do you want
cake."
to try it?
But there were literally some people that would like be like adamant on being like, "No, like that's a giant brownie. Like I want a piece." I'm like, "Okay, you know what? Go ahead, touch it. Like, you know, I'll give it to you. Unless you want it so bad. Like,
so funny.
you know, you're not gonna like the taste, but I warned you." But yeah. So
that was your hiring process. That's what
yeah.
Bob made us really push. But then it wasn't so pushy over time because people just came
people
in
just
for it.
naturally understood it after too. Like,
And the regulars, it's just like what they'd come in and get.
Exactly.
If they have the time, obviously.
exactly. Unless you get an Americano. Getting an Americano on the Clover, which is basically just espresso on the Clover, is cheaper.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's wild.
That was a great sales pitch.
So then over time we got the Nitro cold brew,
yeah.
which it was with sweet cream.
The vanilla sweet cream cold brew.
I
That was so
loved
good.
it, guys. This is like,
Yeah.
that is one drink I would cherish just because it was so expensive for what it was.
I know.
But like sometimes I get it as pre-workout sometimes before the gym.
Seriously.
So how would you describe that one?
Basically, honestly, I could just remember making it.
I know.
Like, I love that. You know what I love about Starbucks? Everything is handcrafted. Like, it is worthy of the price. Like, everything is handcrafted. Like, you are literally getting somebody's love into a cup. And so, I just remember, like, pumping the vanilla in and putting in, you know how much, like, goes into, each, like, iced cup. And then you run it's like
a beer tap.
So there's just 2 taps, and there's like a filter underneath. So like,
it looks
whatever.
exactly like a beer tap,
Yeah.
but it's not beer coming out. It's cold coffee.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god, the process. Okay, before we get into that, the process of brewing the Nitro cold brew, that was a problem. Okay,
that was a task and a half.
Basically, it was like 7 liters of water. Okay, so you take this big giant. It was like Dutch iced coffee, from what I remember people telling me. So you take this big thing, it's called a toddy, and then it's really big, and then it has like a little filter where you like open up, and like whatever liquids are in there will come out, gushing out. So obviously you don't do that while it's still brewing, unless there's like something underneath. So you take this giant like paper like bag
filter, almost.
It was a filter. It was a filter.
Yeah.
And then you put the specifically designed cold brew, like it would be this little chubby bag, and it was in a silver bag. It would literally say cold brew on it. You open up the grind, it's already crushed. Oh no, it wasn't crushed. Oh, you have to like crush that on French press. Wow. Am I allowed to be telling the recipe? You literally be crushing on French press, taking out the grinds, putting it inside the thing. That was like a freaking 10-20 minute like task.
It really that was one of the things I'd say shoddy not, because I really like it would take you a while, especially when you're new at it. You're trying to remember the steps, and you'd have to go.
And you're not trying to like break the grinder.
Yeah, I know.
That was the big thing,
because you're brewing so much, because like she said, they're
so
big
many coffee
toddies.
beans into the thing. So you're
yeah.
like, oh my god, this is gonna malfunction and like go defunct.
I know.
But yeah, so you take that, dump it in on like, you know, the grinds, and once you're done the whole bag, then you would basically be taking this giant like pitcher and like you'd be filling it up with like 7 liters outside, depending on obviously the size of the coffee bag that you're brewing. Like we had 5 pounds, we had like something else 7 pound or something.
Yeah, I don't think more than that.
Pound?
More than 7?
I don't know. It was like something, but we used to do 5 a lot, so that's why I remember. But basically, depending on how much at the time, all I can remember is 7, which whatever bag pound that we were brewing. So we just pour the water, like 7 liters on the outside, 7 liters on the inside, and we tie up.
Oh my god,
like,
that stressed me out.
Tying it up with a little like yarn string.
Because imagine if the bag breaks because of how heavy it is and the water.
It did break a couple times.
Oh yeah, and then it's like, well, now the beans are with the wet, and it's all mushed together.
You have wasted 20 hours because it's not a joke. It's literally, it was a 20-hour brew time. Once you were done that half-hour process, literally by tying it up, and maybe I'm exaggerating, maybe there's some pros out there that are listening, they're like, it's not that bad. Or,
yeah, they literally don't know what they're talking about.
Seriously,
like...
just because you got muscles now, like, just keep it to yourself. Okay, we were struggling. So yeah, and you just basically put the lid on the toddy on. It takes 20 hours to brew. So you would write on the thing, or you'd set a timer, what time for people to dump it at, because we worked at a 24-hour store and everybody would kind of see it, whoever worked in the back. Like, and
that was the good thing about being 24 hours.
We didn't need to set timers, which timers got a little annoying sometimes. It's like literally your alarm, you're hearing it so often.
Yeah.
There's timers going off for everything. Sanitizers, like coffee, like everything had a timer. Okay. And then so we did that, and then once you pour it out, you'd fill it up in this like keg, and like you take it and you towards the nitro tap, and you'd plug in the oxygen part of it. You oxidize it.
It's just crazy. Now that I'm a bartender, this all makes sense to me, but at the time I was like, I'm so confused how to change this. Like, it seems so much more complicated than what it had to be, but like it makes sense to me now. But yeah, so you'd have to hook it up to these like tubes.
Yeah, exactly.
And like there was a certain way of doing it, obviously, and like only certain people at the time
knew how to
do it. Were trained.
Yeah.
And had to show everyone.
And like some people weren't really learning that well for some reason. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Honestly, it took me a couple tries.
I did it once.
Honestly, I think I messed up the machine a couple times too. Like we had to call that guy in, like our handyman.
Yeah.
A couple times.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you just like, and underneath the nitro tap, there was like a little mini fridge, so you'd always have like 3 kegs prepped. So like 1 that was in use, and then 2 that were like, because it was really popular during the summer.
Yeah, and it was honestly, guys, like that was, if I had to spend my money now on a Starbucks drink, I would always go for a nitro cold brew if I'm looking for a coffee. The thing is though, it's so limited, like as to what stores have it. Is that your phone?
I think so.
Oh no, it might be mine. Yeah, it was definitely mine.
It was yours?
Okay. Yeah. What were we talking about?
The nitro cold brew.
So it was expensive for like what it was, but it was so worth it to me, because if like I was getting something at Starbucks, that's what I'd be getting.
Like we literally had to put our blood, sweat, and tears. Not maybe our blood, but maybe our sweat and tears.
Yeah.
Because if that giant bag broke, oh my god,
it would just not be a good time.
Like,
but we highly recommend you try it at some point.
No, everybody should try it.
Some stores have it, so when you come across it, get it.
And that's the thing, because it had 2 taps. So one was regular cold brew that you can
we didn't mention that.
Get at another store. The nitro part of it, the nitro tap, you have to pay a little extra for, but that one's worth it. That one, what does it do to it? It adds nitrogen to the drink.
Yeah.
And then like it just comes out this creamy color that looks like you added milk, but
it looks like a Guinness. So have you seen a Guinness being poured?
It's so smooth.
How it goes like light to dark, and you see it like drop. That's what the nitro looks like. So I like, the system is just so cool. It's expensive as heck to install, but like it was cool that our store had that.
I think it was pretty expensive to like even maintain.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
It was so worth it.
So that was nitro. So let's talk about the roles at Starbucks. So you said there's shift supervisor, barista,
shift supervisor, assistant manager, manager. I
think that's it.
Yeah, sometimes you don't have to have a assistant manager. You definitely need to have a manager. But yeah.
And then the roles that you have on shift.
On shift. So if you see somebody with a little timer on like their side of their apron, if I don't know if they still do this. Like
I would never
then.
wear mine. You would chase me with it.
I know.
Where's your timer?
I know.
I forgot. I didn't forget. I just didn't like the noise going on.
Yeah,
it's,
but like it's
annoying.
necessary. Guys, no, she was watching the coffee though. Don't worry, because the timer was there to maintain the freshness of the coffee.
Did they take that stuff seriously?
Yeah, well, everybody should.
It's true.
You guys want fresh coffee.
It's true.
I want fresh coffee.
It's true. Working at restaurants, I'll just say that yeah, it's really important to have fresh coffee. You shouldn't be sitting there all day, and then when it gets to someone, like, just imagine if you're that customer that gets that gross bottom of the pot, or like beer, it's the bottom of the keg. That's gross. You wouldn't serve that. They're spending $8 whatever on a beer, or like $5 on this coffee, and then sometimes a tip. Like, it's just serve them a fresh cup. That's what they deserve. That's what they're paying for.
Exactly.
So customer support, you'd have the timer, you'd have to do what?
And you just be like basically supporting the customers by making sure that you're greeting. Obviously, every position has to greet everybody, but you're like running around grabbing things.
You're the person who like is the person that like fills everything up and just makes sure everyone's set up well.
Yeah,
exactly. And it's honestly a more important role than you think.
Yeah, because they're the backbone.
Yeah. Exactly.
The person can literally be making drinks. If there's no milk stocked in the fridge,
then you're running to go get milk.
Nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like literally.
Yeah. Or like garbages are overflowing, or like somebody comes to you, there's no tall lids left, and you're like, okay, well now it's busy and I have to go get them. Like,
exactly.
The customer support person is supposed to keep all that maintenance throughout their entire shift.
Exactly. And then there was like a POS person. Yeah. There's a POS person that stays on cash. You can have 2 POS people. You can have 3. I don't know how many you have at your store, but we had 2 at most.
We only had 2 tills.
Yeah, exactly. The shift supervisor was usually always on the second because they can flex. They can help the POS person. They can help restock stuff. They can slide over to the bar and
wherever they need to.
Yeah, the bar person. But yeah, so that's usually how it was. And then this is like a minimal amount, like because larger volume stores have people actually specifically designated for certain things.
100%.
But our store kind of worked like this.
It was nice though being flexible like that.
Exactly.
And then there's the person on bar. Did you mention that?
No, then there's a person on bar. Yes. So that one I know steals the show unless it's the person on till, which was always Bob. Bob was
then he
always
would steal
stealing
the show.
Like, but the barista that was always on bar is basically how you would end your day, because you'd be so happy with how your drink came out, or you'd be unpleasant. Like
what was your favorite position?
Honestly, I loved bar and I loved being a shift supervisor. The thing is, though, is like I didn't end up leaving Starbucks as a shift supervisor. I demoted myself later on. Nothing against the company. It was just not the right timing for me at that towards the end.
You have to put in more hours of work too, right? Like you have to be there for a certain
amount of hours of work,
which is hard when you're in school and balancing 100 things.
Yeah, it was fine. Like I don't know. At Starbucks, especially at a large volume store, you learn to apply pressure to yourself, because like you just have to maintain calm and not crack, like
right.
And sometimes during holidays, because we're the only place that's open, you know that certain customers were watching you and they were waiting for you to crack. Okay, they were waiting for you to crack. We worked at a 24-hour store. Literally, it was open all the time. All types of people came in,
even on Christmas Day.
Yeah,
I remember like that was my first job, being like, I didn't work on Christmas Day when I was there, but I remember being like, I've never been in a place that's been open Christmas Day.
Yeah, I've worked Christmas for the last 3 years.
Oh my gosh,
which is fine because like
someone needs to do it.
Yeah, and like I didn't mind. I just worked in the morning. And then, like, you know,
at home,
have the rest of the night to myself. Yes. But yeah,
I liked bar. Bar was my favorite too. Yeah. I hated customer support only because I hated like clean, like so there's a cycle of tasks, and once you got through it, you just start again. And I was like, oh, I'm bored. I don't want to do that for like 4 hours or 6 hours. Like I want to, like for drinks you're always making something new.
Different.
Yeah. And it's like when you get the most random concoctions. Okay, yeah, it was annoying when it was busy, because you're like, okay, I have to do 100 other drinks. Like I don't have time to make this one with 10 steps. But when it was dead, I was like, I don't mind doing this. I'm gonna put extra effort in. I'm gonna like blend it perfectly. Like I like that was the highlight of my day. Like making and trying new creations. We had a guy at our store at the time who was like super into the gym. So like he'd always make like protein type like slushed this and that. But like honestly, it came out pretty good. Like you came out with good recipes.
Honestly, yeah, it did come out really good.
You get to like learn to play with the blenders and like, you know.
Yeah, honestly, making drinks. A lot of people see Starbucks as just like making the drinks, like, you know, but like it's true. We do make a lot of drinks, and we make really good drinks. But the thing is, though, is that like I don't know. I loved it when it was the busiest, and whoever was on bar, and you just slide over to help, and like you guys just go through the struggle together. Like,
yeah,
because you guys always come out stronger right after, like at the end of like the rush. You'd literally be like, wow.
What I liked is you always had support. Like, if I ever felt like I was drowning, there was always someone around to be like, I'll absolutely help you. Like, you were never, like, by yourself, where you're, like, you know, stressed out of your mind.
There was a couple times. Honestly, when you're a supervisor, you have to, like...
You're the person that ends up getting stressed.
You have to, like, direct the ship. Like, that's literally what it is. But you have to keep your own cool. Otherwise, your baristas are not going to keep their cool.
It's true. It's like a domino effect. Like I said earlier, like... you steer the ship, exactly what you said. So if you start stressing and panicking, then like I'm gonna probably do the same because I see you doing it.
Yeah, and like you have more tasks, so what is there that you know that I don't? Like exactly. So
yeah, I like POS too. I liked being on cash. Like that's like if you like talking and being a greeter and like it's good, but if you're not a people person, then customer support is definitely your role.
Yes, definitely true. Honestly, we're known for everybody being like, you know, and you're ready to be in your face and have a conversation, which is great. That's the whole point of Starbucks. Like they actually wanted to leave their landmark within the community because they just wanted to be in your heart. Like they genuinely did not. That was their mission. There was a mission statement.
I think so.
To nurture and something the soul, something like that. But yeah, through each cup, like it was just meant to be more than coffee. So yeah, but if you're customer support, you get the opportunity to talk a little bit less. You know?
Yeah. Like you obviously still can, but if you wanted to not, you could not have to talk your whole shift because you were just, you know,
running around and doing things.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just greet, say thank you, and goodbye.
Exactly.
And keep smiling.
So what was your go-to drink at Starbucks?
My green tea frappuccino, but then I started realizing that I shouldn't be drinking as many frappuccinos, so I like went into just drinking like there was this thing called Cool Lime Refresher. They don't have that anymore. But Cool Lime, if you took out Cool Lime, mixing it with very berry, like these are all concentrates. So
which is a liquid.
Yes.
If
all liquid concentrates. So I'd mix Cool Lime, very berry, and lemonade. That was no water.
Good mix.
I know. And then you add all the inclusions. It was so good.
Inclusions are the toppings.
Yeah, inclusions. Fruit inclusions, which were limes and blackberry, or was it blackberry wheels?
Blackberries, it was blackberry. Definitely. Yeah. I only saw raspberries as small.
You shake it up, those fruits come to life. Yeah. And you like pour it in your drink, and you're like, oh my god, this is so great. But then they took out the Cool Lime, and then I just honestly went to just drinking regular lattes. Like I was just drinking, the almond milk, like vanilla almond milk lattes.
I like those. I don't love more and more the almond milk at our Starbucks though, or sorry, at Starbucks in general. Yeah, I don't know. It's just not my favorite. I started liking the coconut milk one more, and then I say that they're not even really milk. Yeah,
they're beverages. It literally says on the box, almond beverage.
Well, yeah, it's the same at Costco. Like when you get like almond milk, it's not really almond milk. Yeah, you know. What was your least favorite drink to make? Was there like a regular that would get something that you're like, oh, every time?
Yeah. Let me think.
I liked doing pour overs, but pour overs were annoying when it was busy.
It were so annoying when they're busy. Like seriously, like you feel you're that special. But okay, we're not gonna say everybody's taste buds are different. But like, really, you're gonna do that to me during a rush when you know that there's not enough people? You're gonna have to wait. Like, you know,
it's like they see it dripping, and you're like, I'm getting to it, but it's like,
no, you literally see it. I made it when it was supposed to be made. Like they literally, some of them were expecting that thing to come out like drip coffee, like regular. I'm like, no, this takes time. Like I have to make sure it goes in a circle, and like the water gets poured. Yeah, basically a pour over had like this filtered little mesh thing, and you have the coffee in there,
but you'd stick it in this like metal frame, and the hot water, like it was perfectly like everything would fit like a puzzle.
Exactly, but so, it was so slow. It would drip so
it's slow. Good, but like during a rush, you're better off just ordering a normal coffee. Yeah.
Definitely. But you know, it's okay. They want to pay for that, but they're also gonna have to wait. Like that's just how it is. Like,
So so people are always curious as to like what our discount was, or like our like what we got during
20%?
I think it was 20 or 25 when we weren't working.
No, 25 during partner something week. We had
No, it was
these
30.
weeks.
It was 30 during partner
and-
whatever week, because I remember getting a cup waiting for like that week to get a tumbler thing.
Yeah. Sorry guys, cracked my back. But yeah.
But okay, yeah, and then 20, you're right. 20 I think when it was like you're not
Minimum,
working, you're just
yeah.
walking in randomly.
And you get this cool little employee green card, like, and it was just like had the like Starbucks.
But you're automatically a gold.
Yeah, you're
gold
automatically
level,
gold,
which
but, like,
is cool.
Yeah, it had your name and your like, what was our thing called? Our number?
Partner number?
Yeah, our partner number.
Yeah, we used to call each other partners. Like
Yeah.
you wouldn't say staff.
Well,
you'd
you
be
are
like
a
that
partner. Starbucks wanted you to like show you that okay, you have stocks in the company. They're like once you're an employee, you just start gaining stocks depending on how long you've worked. And yeah, so they wanted you to understand, like they literally wanted you to understand this is your company. What you make of it is what the
Yeah, they
customer
very
gonna
are
experience.
inclusive with the
Yeah.
partnership, but then so during breaks we'd get a beverage free per break. So say you had a 4-hour shift,
Mhm.
you'd have a 15-minute break.
Yeah, 115
Yeah,
by
and,
law.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
you'd get a free drink if you wanted it,
Yeah.
and then yeah, if you had a half an hour break, you'd get another free drink if you wanted it, and then
You know what my favorite drink at Starbucks was? Water. Do you remember that? I was obsessed with extra, extra, extra ice
yes.
and water. Like, because our filtered water was just so good. That was always my favorite drink. And I would just eat the crushed ice.
So were you ever full time?
Full time? No, but I worked like a dog. Like,
Do you know anyone that was full time? Like,
I don't think Starbucks makes anybody full time unless you're assistant manager or manager.
Okay, because I was going to ask about the benefits. Because I know you could like buy it. Is it you buy into
So
it?
benefits start right when you start working about a consistent 20 hours per
I
week.
think it had to be 20 or more.
22, something like that. There was an accumulative number at the end because you get your like this stub. It's not a pay stub. You just get this like paper that tells you, well, you're eligible for this because you've worked this many hours. You're eligible for benefits.
Yeah.
And so Starbucks with benefits were great. They were actually really good. Like, I think when I had started working, they had like 80% dental coverage for like a lot of things.
When you were part time?
Well, 20 hours is part time. Yeah. All you have to do is work 20 hours, speak to your manager, work something out between the two of you. Because like our location had a lot of like partners, like 45 at one point. And like, yeah, we had 45 at one point. And so basically there's always going to be like a lot of people like, asking for hours. Some people were just students. Some people wanted to actually like,
some people were there more long term than others. Like some people wanted to grow in the company. And I think Bob really took that into consideration when he was
he was always taking everything into consideration. Like he was always in that back room trying to figure something out,
Yeah.
He was always thinking of something new.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you just like you get these benefits and they were great. Like, and then if you are a family person, all you're like, for example, if you're a mom or a dad and you're working like 20 hours a week and then you want to go home to your kids and stuff, then you can literally put your partner, whoever that is, or your kids on the same benefit plan as you. That was something that was really good.
That's awesome.
I don't know because I don't have any kids or a partner. How much percentage they'd get. I'm pretty sure it was the same.
I think you're right, because I remember way back when, like years ago, my dad had mentioned to me that I want to say it was like back in almost like, okay, maybe after the war, but it was very, very long ago that wives of men would go work at Starbucks to get benefits.
That's so cool.
For them too. Because if they like couldn't get a job anywhere else, like a typical 9 to 5, it's like, well, if I just go work at Starbucks, I can get full time or whatever, get as many hours to get as much coverage as you can on like dental or whatever.
Yeah. Like
that could like actually work. So like apparently a lot of women were doing it at the time.
That's so crazy. There was a couple of moms that were working at our store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. There was.
Yeah. There was. Now that you said couple.
Yeah. And they would do that too with their own kids. They'd put their family, their husbands, all that stuff on it. And like honestly, yeah, Canada, our health insurance is great, coverage, all that stuff. But like, there's certain things that are a little expensive. Definitely not as expensive as America, but
I know we have to like thank our lucky blessings
I know exactly.
for what we do have.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that was it.
I'm trying to think of more. Your least favorite part about the job?
Okay, so what was my least favorite part about the job?
Was there a task? Was there a certain customer?
Floors. I hated floors. Oh my god! Or this case, floors, and guys, I get it, but there would be a lot of drug addicts that would come into our
Establishment.
bathroom, and I would have to like not have to. I was not obligated. I could just close the bathroom down and no one was allowed to use it and wait till somebody from facilities came in to like clean up the blood and stuff that would like squirt and like all over the walls. And I'm sorry.
No, I can't believe that happened.
I know, yeah.
I didn't know you were on shift when this happened.
So when I first started working, this stuff was so prominent in that location that basically there would be people who had drug addictions and they would come in and they
do stuff in the bathroom.
Shoot up in the bathroom, and we would find their needles. We would find like blood sprayed on the like mirrors. Sometimes we'd find them. Like, yeah, they literally
so
like their pants down, like falling on the floor, dazed, like and it was.
Were you with anyone? Was this because usually I heard that this stuff would happen on a night shift?
That obviously makes more sense, but it would happen in daytime too, especially if you were like
that's really
coming in at 6 a.m. Like they within the time frame of 6 to 12 p.m., 6 a.m. to 12 p.m., you would see like some of them were still lingering around, or like
and it wasn't even that bad of an area though. Like
no, it's in the middle of a really good area, like on one side, and then a not so great
on
area
the
other side.
Yes.
But yeah, honestly, any public like location is like that. I'm pretty sure other brands are like that too. Tim Hortons.
Oh yeah.
McDonald's.
Oh yeah. I remember this one time somebody shat in the garbage can. And I was like, that is disgusting. There's a toilet right beside it.
Oh my god, no. There's people that would urinate beside the toilet, and you're like walking, you're like, why is it
sticky,
so wet and like yellow, and like it was just gross. Or like people who would like, oh my god, no. Somebody, can't believe I'll say this, somebody actually did this. They personally scooped up whatever came out of their behind and threw it at the mirror. Or would throw it at the toilet.
Why?
Yes,
Why?
like,
I'm trying to think like who would like to like just feel that warm crap literally and be like, I don't know what to do with this.
You know what? They're probably like, you guys made my drink really shitty. Like, here you go. Yeah, no, like they just put that bathroom out of order. Like
I swear, one was out of order more than it was in order. Because of all of this crap.
It was the bathroom that was like closest to us.
Yes. Yeah. I would honestly, if I had a choice to, I would never go to that one because of all the crap.
And it's just like anytime, just naturally. Honestly, anytime something's in the front, like or closest to of use, you already know it's being used frequently and touched frequently. Why would you want to put yourself in that position?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Even when I'm like picking something from the grocery store, like I'll pick something from the back.
I think everyone does that. Yeah, and I used to work at Rexall, which is like Shoppers or drugstore. And what we were told when we were putting out stock FIFO, that it was
right? What? FIFO, first in, first out.
Yeah. So we'd have to like take the oldest product, pull it to the front, and then put the new stuff in the back.
Which
and
makes
like
sense.
Yeah, and I always, even before that, my mom taught me, Clarissa, always get your stuff from the back. I'm like,
my
got
mom
it, Mom.
Taught me that too.
Got it. Yeah. And like at grocery store, you're checking the dates. Like you're always looking for the one that like expired the latest, unless you're literally eating it that day. Yeah.
Literally, it's the truth. Yeah.
I love the avocado spread at Starbucks.
Oh my god, yeah.
On multigrain bagels. The big buff guy showed me that.
I know. The big buff guy was great. He was just like a mini Bob.
We would get him to carry all the milk bags when we had to because we'd have to do trips. He would just take a bunch at one shot and just fill us up.
I know, he was so great though. Oh my god, honestly,
he was also a little charmer.
Yeah, he was a mini Bob. Like
just buffer.
Yeah, literally just buffer.
Other Bob was like tall and lanky.
Yeah, tall. Like you know, he had his own charm in his way,
his socks were his charm.
Oh, his socks. He lived for his socks. His socks always had something on it. Oh my god, guys, look at my socks. Pulls up his like pants. Like
he had to make sure people saw them that day.
He usually had like pizza on it or like
weird like fruits or something.
I know, yeah. It was cool though. I like socks.
Now I'm a sock person. When I go to the gym, I like to wear like on deadlift day I wear like long socks
and cool socks. Yeah. I saw some socks yesterday with aliens on it. I wanted to get it.
I was with bumblebees.
Oh,
they're so from cute. The Cheerio box.
Oh, that's so cute. That's so cute. Did you like do the Save Our Bees thing? Oh, they said like, what's it called? I forgot that. Cheerios. They like send you stuff if you like order their seed packets for the environment. Yeah.
Oh, I haven't. I didn't know that it like existed.
Yeah,
that's cool. Okay, so what's your favorite memory from Starbucks?
Sunday mornings. Sunday mornings are great because like there was barely anybody that would ever come in. Sunday mornings would only pick up after like 9 a.m.
Wait, see, everyone's at church. Isn't that what the excuse was?
Yeah, and like it's so calm, quiet, and like the couple people that are working with you, so you guys are just all sitting there talking, getting things done.
More chill,
obviously. But yeah, you guys just are all talking about like life and just really catching up and getting to know each other there because like it's great. Like we want to give you guys the best of the connections that we obviously can, but like in Starbucks, like you have to really be a people's person, and like by surrounding a bunch of like people's persons, even if you're like a little social anxious, like if pushes you to be out there and conquer your fears. And that's what I really liked about Starbucks. Like everybody just gets to know everybody, and
you really
so
do
different.
Yeah, I felt like I was on a good level with everyone, almost everyone, because some people didn't have shifts with that often, but I was like pretty friendly with pretty much everyone.
And like all of our age group, no one was judging anybody. We were just like so chill.
If anything, like we were almost sticking up for one another.
Yeah,
if, like,
we were always sticking up for one another. Yeah. That's the thing.
You were the best. You'd always be like, oh, Clarissa's always on customer support. I'll put you on bar today.
Yeah, literally.
But the truth was, I wasn't on customer support that often, but I hated it. So I was always so happy that you'd put me on
you know
bar.
Why? It's because I think every time I'd come in,
you'd see me on
I'd
CS?
see you on CS, and I'd be like, and that's its nickname, CS. I literally
customer support.
Why is she on there? Like, why is she on it again? Like,
how many days has it been this week?
I get so annoyed. There's like another one of my friends. She worked with us. I don't know if you remember her, but she was really cute, small, and she would put on like pink eyeliner sometimes. She was really cute. I'll tell you her name after. But yeah, she was really sweet, and that girl was always being put on customer support, and she never even got a chance to like work on bar. That girl quit after a month. I don't blame her. Like,
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
that
is frustrating.
That's so frustrating.
I understand.
She made it clear that she's always on it. That's not fair.
You should balance it out. Like as much as like you have a favorite spot and you have like your least favorite, like it's also kind of the shift's job to like make sure it gets rounded out so everyone's like had their like turn, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like big buff guy over time only liked to be on POS.
He made that very clear.
He did not like cleaning, and drinks were okay sometimes. So when it was busy,
he'd be like, though.
I know.
He literally was great at everything.
Yeah.
And I didn't get it.
Yeah.
It was just so like natural to him.
Yeah.
Like, he put him on CS, everything was clean, spotless. Like you put him on bar, he was making great drinks, but he just wanted to talk.
Yeah, he was a talker.
Yeah, that was his thing. He liked that. He was cool. Don't worry, he was not harassing anybody.
We have to like keep saying that as a claim. Okay, so one more thing we can talk about, unless I come up with something else, but uniform. So what was uniform like? I remember getting the booklet. I don't know if it changed from when you got hired to when I got hired.
It did change.
What was
when
the
I had
involvement?
gotten it, basically it was like, from what I remember, that like short little summary. Like you can wear a white collared shirt, you can wear a white top, you can wear a black collared shirt, black top.
So it's black and white?
No logos. Brown was also allowed.
So neutrals?
And navy, but that's it. Yeah, so all really neutral. Like obviously, like literally business colors.
What about pants?
No jeans. Yeah, definitely.
Dress pants?
Yeah,
What you wear on
dress
bottoms?
pants or like
Khakis?
I don't know. Was it dress pants? Dress pants, and I think actually jeans were allowed.
I don't know
but,
what
like,
it was when you started.
I can't remember because it changed like literally a month after,
Yeah.
and I was there for like 3 years.
And
So
shoes?
shoes were always like either black, brown.
Yeah, those
or
had to be neutral
white.
too, I believe.
Yeah.
And then
Honestly,
over time,
all I ever did was literally wear all black.
it was just easiest. Honestly, it's the
Yeah.
same when you're like a hostess at a restaurant or like a
Like if you
bartender.
spill mocha sauce all over you, no one can see it.
Okay, this is a secret, which is not really secret, but I remember when I got an interview at Starbucks, I knew a girl that worked at the pool with me,
Yeah.
and she said, the only thing I will say when you get hired is have your little section in the closet of just your Starbucks clothes because you'll permanently smell like milk.
Oh my god,
what?
milk! You'll smell like coffee.
Just you'll smell like Starbucks. Like I remember that one section of my like it's just Starbucks, and I don't wear those clothes for anything else because you spill milk on yourself. You get coffee on yourself. You're making coffee all the time, like
Mocha
sauce. It's like sticky and super liquidy.
I know.
But what I was gonna say is I think when I got the book, I remember Bob was sitting with me and saying, "Oh yeah, this has really changed. Like now you can have different hair colors.
They have
you can
like
have
scarves and stuff
piercings,
in there,
but like you can't have piercings on your face, only on your ears. I think.
No, you could have piercings in your face. I think he was just being a little selective.
No, you couldn't at the time because
Really?
I remember someone who
Had
worked
a
there
nose
had one,
piercing?
and like it was a huge thing. Like, are they allowed? Are they not allowed? She's wearing a stud. She's wearing a ring. Like, who really cares? Like,
Yeah.
are piercings
I
allowed
know.
or piercings not?
I
Like,
know,
because now we're
like-
getting selective, like you said, with like ears or face. Hair color could be anything, which apparently didn't used to be.
Yeah,
like
I know. Yeah, your hair had to be like.
Tattoos.
Yeah, they allowed tattoos too. Like apparently tattoos weren't a thing. Thank God I wasn't born in that generation.
I know. And then. And then the outfits were neutrals, but also you could wear small prints.
Oh, and they had like like you could do pinstripe or you
Someone had
could do
pineapples once. I
Yeah, but like
remember.
apparently, I remember this because my assistant manager at the time was trying to tell me that this is not allowed. They're like, it has to be like a specific size.
Yeah, it was. I remember that too. It had to be really small, and it's like again gray area because like, is there you gonna measure it?
Yeah,
like, what?
and who are you to tell me what's small to you and what's small to me?
That's very true.
Yeah.
And then you could wear hats.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
was it
fedoras
beanies
and fedoras?
yeah, just again no big logos, which is crappy because even if it was small, like I like some logos, you know.
Well,
it's really
it
hard
makes
to
sense
find.
though because like you're representing like
Starbucks, not Nike,
oh,
or
yeah.
Champion,
Or
Adidas, or
yeah.
like if you're on that like 420 grind, it has like
I know.
Bob Marley stuff all over. Yeah. And also we had
Yeah.
like playlists. Okay, this is like off the clothing topic now.
Yeah.
We had playlists
That were specifically designated for Starbucks.
Yeah, but I remember every now and again this one girl when Bob wasn't in, she would put in her phone into the aux, and it was great because we'd be listening to like pop
Ariana
and
Grande.
rap, and it was just great. Like it was like our generation music, you
Yeah.
know, which like I get other customers are like turned back on the other stuff like elevator music.
Yeah,
It's,
literally.
like,
I love elevator
no,
music. Sometimes when people are talking,
Yeah,
I
just
will like have elevator music playing in my head. I'm like,
yeah, it's
but
so
yeah,
funny.
no. I did not allow that to happen.
No, you weren't there.
I know.
You were definitely
Yeah.
not there.
Okay, I was
Um,
like, but yeah, no. Honestly, that was the fun part, like about it. Like, we just made sure everything maintained its professionalism, but we made leniencies to work with us, and we don't work there anymore. So
Yeah, so tell them how long you were working there.
I was working there. I think I got hired January 25th. January 25th, I got hired, and then I left February first 2 weeks or something. February 3 years later.
So 2000 what to 2000 what?
2016 till 2019.
Wow. So it's pretty recent still,
Mhm.
kind of.
I cashed in those stocks though.
Did you?
Yeah,
That's good.
I know.
I
was
think
good.
I was there for a much shorter time. I was there for 5 months or 6 months, and then I transferred to one near my school where I went to
How
school.
was that? Sorry, I've
Um,
been like talking about my own.
No, that's the
experiences, like-
point though. Like that's
Yeah.
why you're on. But it was an adjustment because first of all, it wasn't 24 hours. Second, it was downtown in London, Ontario, which I've talked about before in like other podcasts and videos of mine on YouTube. And oh my god, my stomach like keeps making noises.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, the mic picked that up. So I remember when I asked Bob to transfer, he was like a little caught off guard at first because he just expected for me to like give it 2 weeks. And I was like, oh, do I have to work for a certain amount of time in order to get transferred? Because I was still pretty like new. I wasn't the newest anymore, but I was still new, I would say. Like I wasn't there for that long. And then he made the call to someone in London who I like spoke to and saw if they were hiring, except they wanted 20 hours a week minimum as just a barista. And I was like, I don't think I could do that with school because I had dropped out and now started college, and I wanted to like get very familiar with everything before I committed to working, which was not my priority. It was, like I said, my fun job. I really, as much as like money would have been nice, I didn't need it, you know, but it was just like, oh, I like Starbucks. I want to continue that because I don't want to leave and have to like go through the hiring process again. It wasn't 24 hours. It was downtown. I remember it was sketchy too because like a lot of like drug addicts and stuff, and we'd have to like click the button to unlock the bathroom door, and they had to buy something in order to use it. And it's like, it just got to be a gray area when like some people would just like let them use it if they didn't buy anything, but then I would get in trouble if like I didn't sell. Yeah. And it was like, but why did you just let them in, but I'm not allowed? And they're like, oh, well, they're gonna poo on the floor then. Like, are you gonna clean it? I'm like, okay, well, why do we have this stupid button for this door then? Let's just let people use it. Like, what? And then like, who am I gonna make buy a cookie and who am I not? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and they were nice. The manager was like young, kind of like Bob's age too, like female version. And she was cool. I didn't see her that often though, and I remember I couldn't do 20 hours a week, and then on top of that, commuting from just there to school was like 20 minutes, which isn't terrible, but it gave me so much stress just thinking how the winter will be, and like if my bus is late, I'll be late for school, and then I'm gonna have to explain to my prof, and I want to have like good impressions, like everything just domino affected. I keep using that term a lot this segment, but I didn't want to let either of them down. So then I eventually, like, I think it only lasted 2 or 3 weeks, and I went to the manager and I was like, listen, like, I remember almost crying because I was like, I feel so bad. Like, I pushed so hard to, like, get here and got Bob to, like, allow it to happen and make sure it all went smooth. And then I was like, listen, I can't do this. And she's like, it's okay. Honestly, like, I totally understand, like, your program's demanding. Like, I won't take it to heart. If you ever feel like you have more time, come back. And I was like, that's literally the best when people say that with open arms in any job, because it just like, it gives you that reassurance that everything is okay.
Yeah. And so it also like makes you feel like you're appreciated.
Yeah.
Like,
I do wish. So I took an apron before I quit. Oh. Do you have one?
Yeah. I have my Coffee Masters.
What?
Coffee Masters. I have done the Coffee Masters. Do you know what that is?
Is that the course that... Okay, I wanted her to talk about that, but I'm really glad you brought it up because I forgot about it. Tell them what it is, because not everyone gets to do it.
So basically about the apron that she was just talking about.
The green apron is what everyone wears.
Yes, the universal green apron. I definitely snatched one from our little bin. I, may have forgotten to take it off when I was trying to go home. And then,
where's it to their car?
I know. So then, but then the reason why I remember Coffee Masters is because we get a black apron that literally says Coffee Master. Basically, Coffee Master at Starbucks prides itself on the knowledge that it passes on to its employees, which is a great thing because they literally are so full of experience. They're so enriched, like in its history and experience, of like what they do with their farmers and like their coffee, how it's grown, all that stuff. So if interested, and if your manager or someone in your district is holding a Coffee Masters program, that's literally what it's called, you just ask your manager and you go, or you ask that person if you can sign up, and it's usually open to a lot of people, and you get paid for it. You sit down, you learn.
That's cool. Yeah, you get paid for it.
Yeah, honestly, you get paid for everything at Starbucks. They're really
true.
generous.
That's true.
They'll pay for your
any
first
meeting,
aid,
any
CPR stuff. Yeah,
that's awesome.
I know, it's really cool. And like food safety, I think. Yeah. So Starbucks is really cool. So we got this this Coffee Masters program, and basically it was just like a couple of like this people, like supervisors or baristas, and you just sit down and talk about coffee, what you learned, what you studied that week. It'd be like one meeting a week, and like each time you'd have basically like this new assignment, and through the chapter, like at the end of the chapter, it'll give you a new assignment from the book that you're supposed to be reading. It's like, this is how coffee's grown. What did you learn from this, like, segment? Or
That's
like,
cool.
yeah. And
where would it be held?
it would usually be held
Like at
within
a
a
hall?
store.
Okay,
No,
so it's at a
within a
store.
store, yeah. And like, well, mine was held within like our store, and
How'd you get the black apron?
so that's the thing. Once you're done the program, they literally get you a black apron that says Coffee Master on it. You are now a certified Coffee Master. You stand out.
Oh my
If
God.
if a customer sees you and they are educated on the knowledge of coffee and Starbucks, they will know that you know what the good like coffee is and
Like,
how
you
to
know the good.
Yeah, exactly.
That's sweet. So how many people would be in this course typically, or is it vary?
Ew, honestly, I think you can like max 8 or 10 people. Like, it literally doesn't matter. I feel like it's just however much the instructor can hold. The instructor is usually a manager or like someone else that's just a certified like coffee master. They can run the program, and
That's
yeah,
awesome.
it was cool. Basically, you just do like it's like little projects. You basically get to pick a coffee for the week. You like taste it out with another like pastry from Starbucks, and you pair it with that. They were really big on that, like pairings.
It's part of the training.
Exactly, because it brings out like the
certain
flavor of
notes.
the coffee, yeah, notes that the coffee naturally had, brings out like the origin, where the coffee came from, like that origin might specifically be known for citrusy notes or like darker notes, more velvety, stuff like that. Yeah.
Wait, so first of all, I wish I did that course because I
know.
really wanted a black apron. I remember the person who trained me at the time told me about this, and I was like, I want it.
I know.
Just because it's like, it's not the green one. Everybody has the green one. There's not many, select few, handful that have those black aprons that have taken this course. So is there another time that you did a coffee tasting thing, or was this part of that?
Coffee tasting Starbucks, you're supposed to like, Bob didn't do that much with us, but there was another lady after him, and she did it. She built herself from the ground up. She was barista, shift supervisor, assistant manager.
Yeah.
So she went up all the levels. So she knew that every couple weeks you're supposed to have a review, and basically like you just have a coffee tasting with your manager. You guys just talk about your progress, what you like to improve on.
That's so nice. We never did that.
Yeah,
Not when I was there, at least.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's like a terrible
was
thing,
really
but it would have been
cool.
something nice to implement.
It was really cool. It was really cool. It was fun. Like, you just take time every day. You get paid for it. 15-minute conversation. You get to get whatever you want off your chest, whatever's upsetting you, or you get to like listen to just great feedback about how you've been doing, and like, let's
Or how to grow,
work on
or-
something
yeah,
like
for
that
sure.
you see as like a little bit of a challenge, which is whether it's like how you want to talk to your employees about getting certain tasks done, so you're not like so overwhelmed that after like
Yeah.
you leave, or like you did such a great job on the sales, like we want to see more of that, like it was just really good, like it was
Yeah.
really positive.
Specifically the training that we didn't go over too much. I said earlier on that it was like kind of intense and with hours and such, but trying to remember the steps for a hot drink and a cold drink, and for the amount of pumps for each, and then just like, I guess, learning where everything goes, how you would date things, how things would be kept for how long. But something I did really like is the coffee pairing and like origins test. I remember it was like a spinning wheel on the computer, and you'd have to like match like the origin and the coffee bean. I can't even remember, but I remember it being like, it wasn't just like, oh my God, I have to do this training. It was like, they made it enjoyable, tried to make like a little game and quiz out of it. Yeah. So you would remember it in a better way.
Yeah, exactly.
100%. And I
like
loved
that.
pairing coffees and food was like the best part of the day.
Honestly, yeah, exactly. Because you're just like, when I was a customer, I used to have to want to pay for these.
Yeah, and now you just get it for free. Like, the person who trained me was like, okay, what do you think it'll taste good with? And I was like, you're letting me pick? Like, at first, like, she would pick the items, but then like after a few shifts, like, okay, well, what do you think this would taste good with? And then like I'd pick it out.
That's so fun.
Yeah, it's a fun process. It's like everyone would always say,
I love
like,
that about Starbucks.
Yeah. Everyone always say, like, isn't it crazy to work there?
I should have kept my job.
Yeah, everyone's like, isn't it crazy there? Like, how do you?
It was a little crazy
Over time, though,
but...
and like, again, it depends like who you work for and the team you're with will really change your experience.
Yeah, exactly. We had a great team.
Yeah.
Sometimes
don't regret my time there at all.
Yeah. Seriously, I'm like, sometimes not so great. But like, you know, when their shift ended, everybody was happy. So literally, that's how it just was.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, honestly, it was so much fun. Like, I'm sorry if anybody's listening and they didn't think that I said everything that I should have said, or if I said something incorrectly. Honestly, it's been so long, but as far as I'm concerned, I love Starbucks, and yeah.
Yeah, no, I liked it too. Definitely one for the books.
Yeah, like I would tell people, yo, definitely get a job there. Like,
yeah,
it was good. Honestly, for anybody's age.
You also get tips. I forgot to say, like they divvy out tips.
Yeah.
So
not usually that much.
It's not, but it's still like
that's
nice.
because we had like a large volume of people working with us, so we had to like split it up. Basically, you just all the tips for the week go together in one pile. From what I never did tips, but from what I remember, and they based off of how many hours you'd work and what was accumulated, it would get divided. And
that's how every week they'd be putting in a little brown envelope,
a little $7.
Yeah,
sorry.
That was nice.
I know, it was cute. Get your little name on it.
I'm here to get my little brown bag.
I know.
And the good thing is too is when you sub at other stores, you also then get tips for that week.
Yeah.
So you'll just have a random envelope sitting there. You're like,
and they're
safe.
Am I supposed to grab that? Oh my god. Yeah, that was another cool thing about Starbucks. If you weren't getting enough hours at your store, you can pick them up at another store in your district. That was so cool.
It was very fluid and seamless
like,
that way.
They just wanted to help everybody. Yeah, it was great. Honestly, thinking back about it, like.
The really good setup. They know what they're doing, and like they're as successful as they are because of it. I want to say one more thing I want to add. There was these cards. I don't know what they called them, but say someone has been waiting really, really long time for their drink, or their drink got messed up. We were allowed to give out. I don't know what it's called.
We're sorry.
We're sorry cards.
Yeah, no, that's not what it's called. But like recovery cards.
Recovery cards. They're the best, guys. There's so a secret
cute.
that you don't hear often.
Yeah.
It'd be a $5 preloaded gift card. So basically, it pays for an average drink that you get Starbucks.
Just to say sorry.
Yeah, and the best was the person who trained me was like, I was like, oh, do I have to go like run this by my shift supervisor? Blah blah blah. She's like, no, it's like literally up to your discretion. Like if you find that somebody waited too long or something could have been done to make that person's experience better, then you 100% go swipe that card, activate it, and give it to them.
Like that's what I loved about Starbucks. There was a lot of things that's literally it was up to your discretion. You don't have to ask people like, am I doing this right? Am I doing this wrong? Like you're not breaking any rules by making somebody's day. That's what their biggest thing is. Like make somebody's day accordingly, obviously, but like just make somebody's day.
Yeah.
Like
that was good.
It was really I loved it. That's so cute. I used to give out a couple on the weekends because like, you know, especially when people are new, like you're just like,
and especially it's like when you think the last like, oh, when's the last time you gave one out and you can't remember? You're like, okay, it's been too long. Like somebody's definitely been upset since then. I haven't.
Yeah, exactly.
Or it's been busy and like you hadn't had a chance to like.
Yeah, but you're always supposed to be looking up eye contact, always reading everybody's body language. That was a big thing. Like read everybody's body language. If they're urgent, get them what they need urgently. But if it was like, you know, they're like coming in ready to have a conversation, have that conversation. You're making their day. Like.
Yeah. Was there anything else you want to add?
Honestly, no, but this is my first podcast and I like really had fun.
Good. I'm so glad. Do you want to
plug
plug any socials or do you want to remain off?
Well, right now, I don't have any social media. I actually deactivated my Instagram.
You're doing a cleanse again?
Yeah.
Okay,
you know,
well, you'll see from her in the future at some point.
You definitely will.
But thank you so much for coming on. I had so much fun. I hope we covered everything. But if we can somehow do a part 2 to this at any point in time, that would be probably cool, like a cool segment.
Definitely.
If there's something you want us to touch on more that we didn't and we just kind of glazed over, then we'll keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.